Hello there and welcome to Community Life. Here we talk with the community experts about their life journeys and learn from each other. And today we have a conversation with Klara Losert, co-founder of the great community platform Talkbase, avid boba drinker, female founders mentor, and an amazing community person. So welcome, Klara.
Thank you so much for having me, Yuri. It's an honor.
It's been a long journey, since we met for the first time until now, and I'm super happy to have this conversation with you right now. And before we even met for the first time, I checked your social media and I don't remember where, but somewhere was your wedding video where you were running and fell. And it was so real, human, and fun. I just always when I'm talking to you, I'm always remembering this video. So what did you feel back then?
Absolutely. This is so funny because we were just talking about this on Monday with our team. So I got married in August, almost 2 years ago now, and we had actually my co-founder Romy was our wedding photographer, and he was also our best man. So we're very close knit, and we also had another person helping us shoot a video. And at the end of the shoot, it was very tiring. I hate photo shoots, so it was a very brief one. And at the end, we were walking in this field. I had this dress, but fields may look romantic, but they're not romantic. You get sticks everywhere. We had bugs everywhere. It was summer, the heat in Prague. It was awful. It looks nice, but it was awful. We were walking and we did this final shot with the drone over this beautiful field with trees and sunset. It was magical, right? Me and my husband all dressed up. And I decided to do a spin and start running, and I fell into the field, but I really felt my dress was flying everywhere. So it's a really fun memory from that day. And it really picked up my mood because I was a little grumpy during the photo shoot. Like I said, not my favorite part of the day. So this was really hilarious.
It's a good tip, to make your mood better. You just have to fail. No worries at all.
Absolutely. It was a lot of fun.
And coming back a little, so you posted on Facebook as of 4th of August, I said yes, in Mykonos, Greece. So how did Jan make you a proposal?
It's really hilarious. At that time we were together for 5 years. So, when you're with the person, you live together, you kind of get to know them a little bit. And we were supposed to go for this trip to Greece, to travel around the islands. And we booked our flights, and I asked him, did you get our COVID, approvals? Because back then you had to check everything. And he was like, of course I did. And it was supposed to be this beautiful trip after a really long time that were not able to take some time off. And on the day of leaving, we discovered that he checked it wrong and we did not get our COVID approval. So we ended up it took us a day longer to get there. So we come to the hotel after 40 hours of traveling and trains and planes and sleepovers. We get to the hotel and we are in a hotel that's the first vegan hotel in Greece, I think, definitely in Mykonos, because I'm preferably plant-based, on a plant-based diet. And we were the first guests to stay there. They just opened 2 days ago. So it was a really nice experience. And we got to the room, we were super tired. And we were getting just, ready to take a shower after that long trip. It was awful, wearing your mask and everything. And my partner, Jan, was very nervous and was like, are you ready? Let's go to dinner. Are you ready? Let's go to dinner. And I kept saying dude, I'm showering. Do I look ready to you, And I finally got out the shower, got semi-ready for dinner. And I was standing in the bathroom, and he came to me, he hugged me. I was like, oh, it's a nice moment. I turned around, I was still fixing my hair, turned around, and there he was on his knee in the bathroom in the hotel. And I was like, what are you doing? He was shaking like this. I was shaking like this. And I was like, what are you doing? What are you doing? That was the only thing I said. He was like, okay. I cannot even say what he said. I don't remember. It was such a adrenaline high, but that's what happened. So we actually got engaged before we even got out of the room. So we finished getting ready. went for our dinner, and we told the manager. She came to ask us, is everything okay? And we said, well, yeah, are we like the first guests here? And she said yes. And then we were like, well, we also got engaged here. So until the end of the trip, we were getting, all the smiles, and we got a free dessert. So it was really super nice.
Yeah, totally. I can imagine. And was it planned? Was Jan prepared to do this in bathroom, or he wanted to go, I don't know, to the supper? Did he tell you the whole story after that?
Well, from what I know, he was definitely prepared. He actually had the ring for over a month at home. He had to hide it because I'm a detective and I find anything. So he had to hide it really well. And I didn't know, but my co-founder, Roman, knew because he was helping him pick out the ring. Which was super sweet as well. But then on the proposal, he was saying when we were going to dinner, you got these rings in these big boxes. Like if I put it in my pants, you could see it, right? Like where should I put it? I don't have a purse or anything. And he also knew that even though it doesn't look like it, I'm more of an introverted person. So he kind of thought that I would prefer to, do this in private. Not maybe in the bathroom, maybe in a room, but it was hilarious. It was very us. We are very, very goofy people. So it was awesome.
Yeah, it's totally amazing. And also you told about vegan hotel. So I know that sometimes you have vegan food in hotels, but what does it mean, vegan hotel?
Yeah, the hotel was pretty much trying to well, first of all the cuisine, the breakfast, lunch, dinner, everything was plant-based. So no animal products anywhere. And also the cosmetics, they were using kind of the little, shower gels, etc. you get in the bathroom were cruelty free, meaning not tested on animals, and not with beeswax or anything like that. So that was kind of the concept of the hotel, that all the food that you eat is plant-based, all the drinks. If you get something like pina colada with cream, it's like coconut cream, not an animal product, etc. So it was really nice. It was actually very calming because oftentimes, if you have some sort of dietary preference or necessity, you stress about it all the time, and here you were just completely free to do whatever you wanted. So it was quite nice.
Yeah, you have always asked if anything is there, and then I totally understand what you're talking about. So let's start from the beginning. Tell me about your parents. Who are they?
Ooh, good question. So my parents, my mom is an entrepreneur. She is in the hospitality business. She is running hotels. So ever since I was little, my mom was always very hardworking, sort of this businesswoman, if you may, always carrying her diary with her notes, always wearing, her business suit. Making sure that everything runs smoothly. I think from a very early age, I always kind of saw her as the boss of the house, and I always saw her as the, sort of like the leader of the family as well. So then when later on, when I got to work, I didn't realize that it's usually not that way, that not that many women are in leadership positions, right? Not that many women are have the experience of owning something, running a business, being tough and being firm, and having the opportunity to practice their leadership skills. So my mom is really tough, but also a really soft person at the same time. She loves everything sweet. Whenever she goes to get a coffee, it's triple caramel something with additional chocolate on top. It's super, super funny. So whenever I want to bribe her, I just buy her a bar of chocolate, and it always works. And she loves old movies and Woody Allen movies. That's something that we share, something that she taught me. So yeah, that's my mom. And my stepdad that I grew up with, he's been in business a lot as well. My parents actually have been working together for the last 10, 15 years or so. So they kind of taught me this sort of idea that you can like work with your spouse, that it's like normal, that, and also that business is at home, right? Always at the dinner table, we'd be talking about what's happening in the hotel, what's going on, right? So it's the same now for me and my partner, because we also work together. And he is he's also very goofy. He's also very tough. So both of my parents were very, I would say, career oriented, very driven, very tough. But also, always wanting to build something better for their family and for their kids.
How does it feel, like from your experience, from your mom's and dad's experience, and from your experience, how does it feel to work together with a partner?
I think from my mom's experience, what I hear her say a lot is, I run everything, I have to run everything. And I think, a lot of us feel that way, that we are the ones carrying all the weight. And I think, again, a lot of women sometimes do feel that way, especially if you have both children and a full-time job, right? With my mom, it was special because her husband, my stepdad, is not from Czech Republic originally. He's from Canada. So that's where I got my English accent from when I was very little already. And he doesn't speak the language, right? So she always had to help him translate everything and take him to all the appointments, right? It was like she had another baby to kind of take care of, along with myself and then my sister. So I think she had a lot on her plate, but handled it the best way she could. From my perspective, I think it's, and we just talked about this on our team's lunch yesterday, actually. I think it's, everything has its pros and cons. What I really love about working with my partner is that, we're always kind of on the same page in terms of what I do, who I work with, the industry. We both work in tech, right? So whenever we mention a name or a company or a new product or a trend, right, we have so much in common. I actually cannot imagine being with a partner that has no idea what you do if work is a big part of your life. It's like meeting a high school or elementary school friend, and if they do something completely different, you're like, oh, like you don't understand this whole part of me, right? Because you just don't know. So that's the part I love about it. I think the part that's really hard is that you're always together. You're never alone. So that's something that we've been kind of figuring out how to set up boundaries and little tiny rules at home, so that we don't drive each other insane, and so that we also have some distance in the relationship, right? So that you're just not like constantly 24/7 glued to this other person. So
yeah, totally. And did your mom help you to choose a hotel for the Community Rebellion conference?
I wish she did, but it was all me. But thanks to my mom, whenever I travel or I enter a hotel, I see all the little things. Like I can tell where they have been saving money. I can tell which carpets are fireproof and which carpets are not. Like I can see all the little things. So so she taught me well. I hope.
I wonder, why are you not in a hospitality business?
I feel like what I do for a living, and I feel like I've always enjoyed entertaining. Like I've always enjoyed putting an experience together, whether that's for my friend's birthday party, whether it's, me traveling with my girlfriend somewhere. I would be the one booking the hotels, running the itinerary, right? Like putting the plan together, putting in a surprise, etc. Like I've always been that way. But I've also really loved technology. And I think that's something that's not that, in hospitality, it's mostly, it's partially your brain and partially your feet. Versus here, I think, in technology, it's a bit of a different type of work, but you can create, similar experiences. So I think that passion of mine and kind of longing to really work in tech kind of won over the hospitality. But don't get me wrong, I started my career in hospitality, and when I was already 14, I was working summer jobs at the hotel, so I've always I do have that background, and I think it's actually very beneficial if you if you start your career that way, because you really learn to talk to people, you learn to understand the value of money, you learn to understand the value of good service. So yeah.
Mm-hmm. Totally, it's very connected. I promised not to say the word community, but it's very connected with the community, kind of. And I have this question, and I'll ask you later, but you told that you can bribe your mom with a chocolate bar. So describe a situation when you had to bribe your mom with something more than a chocolate bar.
Mm-hmm. Ooh, let me think. I think it would be when I was growing up and I wanted to, do something, like go out with my friends, or, stay up late, or like travel somewhere and get pocket money or anything. I think I would always, try to make everything perfect. So, I would clean the house, make my mom a cup of tea, etc. So that would sort of be the kids bribing their parents to, allow them to do additional things. But this actually tea making sort of became our tradition. My mom always came in late from work, right? Because she was at work a lot. So I would always make her a teapot for when she got home. I would always time it so it's like done when she's home. So that sort of became like a tradition when I was still living with my parents. So yeah, I think it was kind of the usual, the routine of trying to get everything perfect so that, you can then get something in in return, I think, as it usually is with kids.
Yeah. So how did you first encounter the tech world?
It was when I just finished high school. I was 18 and I was working as a waitress in this coffee shop. And we had this, a friend of our family was working in a company very nearby. And he came often to the coffee shop and he was saying, I work in this company. We just got a lot of big investment. And I'm looking for someone to be like my assistant, to go and like help in all these departments. I'm native English speaker. Most of the company is, Czech people. You speak both languages. You could help me kind of connect with other people. So he offered me the job, and that was my first job. When I was 18, I was sort of like operations assistant to the COO of the company, and his goal was that he would rotate me through different departments, right, to sales, marketing, HR, product, so that I could learn and learn what it means to build a tech company. And I actually ended up in HR right away because we were doing a lot of hiring with the investment. And I stayed in HR for a couple of years. When I was actually 19, I came into the company. I turned 19 in like 3 months, and then they promoted me to HR manager, which was very random. I was the youngest person in the company, and my job was to run all the HR stuff. So it was a huge challenge. It was a lot of fun, but I really enjoyed it. I just loved bringing my computer everywhere and like typing things on it, and that was my first encounter.
Okay, so you are a lot of in the tech world, but let's come back a little. And what is the first memory of your childhood that comes to your mind right now?
This is always a super hard question for me because I don't remember a lot from my childhood. It was really stressful.
Yeah.
So a lot of the memories I have are actually very bad. Come to think of it, the first one I have is my first day of elementary school, where my parents took me and they were fighting because they were already divorced and getting a divorce, and I did not know.
Yeah.
So they were fighting and everyone was screaming. We took a picture and then they left. And in Czech Republic, when you go to school, you get this cone of all the sweets that you bring in on that first day, and you share it with your friends. So everybody gets this cone with lots of sugar candy and chocolate, and then you you all measure who has the bigger one, who has like which picture on it, etc. So I was standing there with the cone and I felt absolutely terrified because my parents were fighting weird vibe. Like you never know as a kid, but you can tell.
Yeah.
And I came into the classroom and I was terrified. I was hoping like if I can share this with someone, like will people want to like share the candy with me and so on. So I think it was that's like the first thing I remember.
Yeah.
But the cone tradition is really sweet, and I think it's still a thing now after 20 something years. I think people still do it, which I think is super fun.
Yeah, I can totally relate to you because my parents divorced also when I was like 5 years old or something like that, and I do not remember practically anything before like 7 years old or something like and I wonder how our brain works. It just clears all memories like till some better moments. So I can totally feel what you are talking about. And I found you shared it on your LinkedIn. So it was a photo when you were riding a bike wearing sunglasses. Do you still like bikes?
I don't like bikes, but I love sunglasses.
Got it. If you are in a new place, are you going sightseeing or people watching?
Oh, that's a good question. For me, I think people watching. I just love like watching people interact, watching them go about their lives, watching their routines, watching their movement. I don't know, it's like a passion of mine. I think it's also I think you can combine the two. Go when you're traveling, you can see a busy spot and you can find a place kind of a little bit on the side and kind of watch the site come to life, right? If it's an old building, if it's if it's a church, if it's a piece of nature, if it's a piece of art, that on itself with a lot of the human interaction around it, super fascinating.
Do you also interact with those people or just watching them?
I watch them. My safe place, and I think part of why I do what I do for a living is that I can be on the back end. Like I can be behind the curtain and organize everything, but ideally not be seen.
Creating a platform for community people, it's kind of hard to not be seen. So, and what is your favorite place for people watching?
Let me think. There is like this place immediately came to mind, and I say it's my favorite place on earth. There is a park in Paris behind Notre Dame, which is the famous cathedral. There's a little park, a sand park with a huge flower garden, beautiful one. And every time I'm in Paris, I've never broke the tradition except for when the park was closed because of the renovations after the fire. I would always buy Parisian crepe, a pancake with Nutella, and sit in that park and people watch for as long as I could, because it's very calm and people kind of go there to hang out, and it's in front of the cathedral. There's hundreds of people taking pictures, holding the cathedral and posing, and selfie sticks everywhere. But behind is this piece of nature and tranquility, on this island in the city. It's just magnificent. It's so calming. That's like my favorite place.
And in this park, do you have your favorite spot, like favorite bench or something, like where you usually definitely goes there?
100%. When you walk in there, so the cathedral is here. You would walk from the left side. There is a little, a little gate that you open, and I usually sit like on like the second bench because you can see people walking in, going through the park, looking at the flowers, looking at the back of the cathedral, and walking out as well. So that's where I usually sit.
the best place for the observation.
Yes, 100%.
And I feel like you love traveling. So what was the first place you ever traveled to?
I think when I was little already, my parents were taking me. They loved traveling as well, and it's I think something I really inherited. The first travel I really remember, was when we were going to Mexico, and um, I was maybe 4 or 5 years old. And I remember us walking on the street and there being this like huge lizard. It's probably not a lizard. I think there's like a different name for it. And I remember it was very hot and it was so weird because, Czech Republic doesn't have that type of weather. And I
Yeah.
remember, the hats everywhere, sombreros, it was something else. So that's kind of my, I think, like first travel memory that I have. And actually, funny enough, Mexico is very top of list for me. I would love to go there again someday, and I haven't been since then. So, maybe one day.
Maybe one day it will be a Community Rebellion Mexico edition conference. You never know.
I would love
So,
that.
did you get a sombrero for you that time?
Oh my God. I cannot believe I'm gonna share this. So we were at a store with with those, colorful sombreros that have, all the beautiful silver knitting and the glitters. And I really wanted to get one. And they had tiny versions as well. And I loved them because they were perfect for my little dolls, for my little Barbies, right? So I was there in the store. I was tiny. I was excited, and I was like trying to find the pink one, and I was searching through all the colors, and they were, on these shelves. So I would always hang it on my hand, and like look for another one, hang it on my hand, and look for another one. Then my parents, they were outside the store. They called me that we have to go, and I dropped it, and I think one or two left hanging on my hand. We left the store. I walked a couple of meters and we had the store guards screaming at us like, that I was trying to steal them. I had
Yeah,
no idea, right? I was super tiny.
yeah.
So there was this like a huge fight, and my parents, I think they ended up paying for them. So I know I got a big one. I still have it probably somewhere, a big pink one. I'm not sure if I got those little ones, but I still remember that fight, and I remember feeling like I didn't know it was there, so that was kind of funny.
Yeah, I also feel your feelings because like when you are not doing something intentionally and you are being accused of doing this and like, but I didn't mean that. Why do you screaming on me? All the stuff. So
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely, absolutely.
yeah, and also I feel like it would be so much easier if you've done that intentionally, you know, because like when you are being intentional and getting caught, it's like, nah, okay, didn't work. But in this case, yeah, much sadder.
Absolutely. It's like when you're, going to a store and you grab something, you like hold it here, and then you walk out unintentionally, unaware what you have somewhere, right? I think it happened to all of us. So it happened to me with tiny sombreros.
Uh, Once you shared on your Instagram that I would never consider myself as a person that would get up at 6 a.m. to go on a huge mountain hike. So, what have you recently done that you would never consider yourself doing?
Oh, a lot of things, actually. A lot of things. I'm kind of in the stage of my life now where I'm breaking all the habits I used to have and creating lots of new habits. So waking up at 6 a.m. is actually one of them. I used to have a regime where I would get up around 8:30, 8:45 every day, so very late. Luckily, my job allowed me to do that. But now I actually discovered that if I get up early and go to bed early, I feel a lot better. So I'm sort of this like early bird. So that's the one thing. I've been getting up at 6:30 a.m. for the last month or 2 months, and it's unbelievable. It's so awesome. You get so much time to yourself. Everyone's asleep in the morning, right? So that's really nice. Um, Let me think. I think another thing is like getting movement, like moving your body without any like specific purpose to like gain muscle or lose weight or anything like that. Just moving your body so that you feel well and stretched and you feel like, you are taking care of yourself. I always used to be very hard on myself in terms of exercising and walking and getting your steps in, and all of that. And I was really beating myself up a lot. So it was actually after our wedding, I decided to like take a little break. I stopped exercising completely. I was doing nothing, just Netflix every day, every night. Um, and I feel like only in the last like couple of months, I kind of learned to get back to it without this feeling of constant stress, constant pressure. And it's not just moving your body. I feel like there's constant stress and pressure in everything we do. But yeah, I think those are like changing the habits a little bit, I think is kind of what's new for me, getting out of those old ways that were not really serving me that much, and trying to do things that just feel nice and, bring joy and are nice to do.
And in case of exercising, how did you change your mindset to not see it as a stressful thing?
I think the big like revelation for me was that I realized how much it was stressing me. Like that's the one thing I realized, was that, I get up, I work a lot, I work long hours every day, and I would get up in the morning and feel super tired and still, try to do as much movement, the hardest workout out there. I would like every day I would start a new challenge, right? A new thing, like, and looking at my watch, right? And it just this like constant like pressure, and I realized that my body was just not happy about it. My body was really suffering, and it was also stressing me out, and I could like feel it. I realized like if I have to sit down on the ground for 10 minutes or 20 minutes after I exercise and just like try not to die, like probably not the best thing, right? So I think that works in any area of your life. Once you see it, you cannot unsee it, right? But as people, I think we have the tendency to block things out. Like you were saying, you block those memories, you forget about things intentionally. I think we do that with like other things as well. So once I saw it, I could not unsee it, and I had to take my time to I had to stop completely to then find new balance, and that's with a lot of things. So yeah.
I feel like we have a lot of things in our minds, and before we name them, they keep doing bad things for us. And I've just recently went to a movie with my wife, and we've seen this Pope's Exorcist. It's kind of thriller, but it's like very nice. And there was an idea that to make the demon like less powerful, you have to know their name. And you know what? I feel like we have a lot of demons in our minds. And after you told me that, you kind of understood that it's bringing you stress. And after you told that to yourself, I feel like it gets much easier for you.
I love that. Yeah, to know the demon, you have to name it like 100%. I think that's such a good, that's so true.
And I went to your blog post and you wrote very humble phrase like, I'm an average person who had the opportunity to meet extraordinary people in my life. So how do you know if you are meeting an extraordinary person?
I feel, and this is going to be very cliche, and I think it's really hard to like not say this in a way that's not cliche, but I feel every person can be extraordinary in their own way. And then it's really upon us to like personally decide, who we want to spend time with, who we want to learn from. It's also on us to see that in people as well. I think that's something that, for somebody, it can be someone with a great career. For someone, it can be somebody with a great family. For someone else, it can be someone who's really good at an athlete, really good at sports, right? We all see this differently. And I think understanding that and being able to learn from people and to get to know people is really, really a hard skill. So I was, like I wrote, I think I was very lucky in every role and in every job that I had the chance to always work very close with the management or directly with the management, that I got the trust and the opportunity to learn. I also, decided for myself what I value, what type of people I want to learn from, personally, professionally, but even like online and, in this sort of like virtual space. And really like surround myself with that type of content, with that type of, learning energy to really inspire me every day.
And what does extraordinary means for you?
I think extraordinary for me means being able to embody the values you hold dear. So if somebody is able to live by the values that you value and can show it to you, can show you what that looks like in practice, not just in mind, but in practice, can show you how to deal with it and how to, represent it even in the hard situations, I think that's extraordinary. Yeah.
Are you comparing yourself to others?
I feel like this interview is like completely tied to my momentarily life. I just got a new application on my phone where I have like a daily check-in of things that make me happy. And the first thing on that list is don't compare yourself to others. So I could give you the historical data because I love data to give you an example which days I did it and which days I didn't. I think it's really hard not to compare yourself to others. And I also think that comparison is the thief of joy. So even if I do, I try to get out of that mindset. Like I literally talk to my brain like, no, not doing that. Like this is not working for us. This is just making me angry, making me sad. Look at me, like now I want to go and make myself feel better by eating a whole bar of chocolate or like putting the music super loud or anything. Like this is not good. Let's just not do it anymore and move on. But I also think that in comparison, there is this part jealousy and part anger that you should learn from and not compare yourself to others. But I also think you can learn from it in another way, and that's realizing what you actually want in life, right? If you constantly see, if you feel like somebody else is living the life that you want to live, right? I think that, if you have the conditions and you have the privilege and the safety and the opportunity to make the change, you should do it, right? We all kind of write our own stories, right? We can kind of manage what we do. And if you have the opportunity, it's really time wasted, in my opinion, not to at least try, if you've always been jealous of the friend who learned how to, do bowling or make a good cup of coffee or run 5 kilometers or whatever, right? Like, just try it, at least if you see that, you get jealous of someone, maybe there's something that you also want, right?
Yeah.
And you should use that feeling as a learning curve, not to like beat yourself down that you're not doing it, right? So yeah.
When you have this feeling, what questions do you ask yourself?
First, I have to like breathe it out. First, I'm like very mad. So I'm like, okay, cool, noted. This is what's going on. And I also learned that it takes me quite some time to actually process things emotionally. So I just give myself time. Once I feel like I stopped feeling jealousy, anger, any of that, I'm like, okay, what is it here? Like, would I want this exact thing that this person has? Or do I just feel like I'm not good enough? And if it's, I'm not good enough, then I know, okay, my problem, my issue, I need to deal with that. But if it's, like, this sounds amazing, this course or this song or this city or this food sounds amazing, like maybe I want to explore it, maybe I want to see what it's about. And then I go on discovery and I Google stuff, and I ask people and I learn, is it fun, is it good, is it worthy, is it cheap, is it available? And then I realize, is this a good experience for me or no? So, but it's a lot. Like I've been dealing with jealousy my whole life, and I would consider myself a very jealous person. And like honestly very envious. It's one of the very like bad traits of mine, and I had to learn to deal with it. Otherwise, I would end up a very grumpy old person, that's just angry at everyone. So it's really a mental exercise that I you have to go through if you want to deal with it.
Yeah, and I feel it's very hard. I feel like it's just, dealing with all the stuff and like having this conversation with yourself and understand, and yeah, totally hard. And I'm kind of obsessed with making mistakes. And in one of your blogs, I noticed that making mistakes equals learning. So what one mistake do you keep repeating over and over and over again?
I think one of the biggest things for me right now is not sharing a complete honest feedback. I think that's one of the mistakes that I've noticed that I do very often. And the reason why I keep doing it is because I don't want to get the other person angry. I don't want them to be mad at me. And it's not a very good mistake to make if you are, the leader of the company, or if you have a team, or if you want to be honest with people, if you want to get make sure that they get better in general, not just in life but even with friends, right? If you feel like your friend is making an honest mistake and you never tell them, you're probably not a very good friend, right? So I think that's like the one mistake I keep repeating. And I think that life has like a tendency to like keep sending us things again and again until we like redirect, fix them, change them. So I think that's why it's keep happening to me, because universe is like, all right, you should start like redoing this now. So that's a big one for me, and I'm starting to work on it, but it feels very new. It feels very weird telling people what I actually think. And I'm afraid that, sometimes they're gonna think I'm quite an asshole, if I can say that. So, but I think that comes with life. Not everybody can like you. And, I think it's worth saying what's on your mind and worth sharing the feedback if you feel like it's important.
Have you read Radical Candor?
I haven't. I think I have the book at home, but I think it's a huge part of the book, right?
Yeah, and it's a huge book. I didn't finish. I'm like on 40-something% of it, and like it's super hard. But there are really good ideas, and I totally feel what you're talking about. And given feedback, it's like an amazingly hard, because like how to understand if you like damage somebody's health, like mental health, how to find good words. But
Yes.
what really helps me is that I'm always like, I love you, that's why I'm saying it to you. So and I also noticed if people don't care about others, they won't say anything. So I also feel like, given feedback, it's showing that you really care. And yeah, but I totally understand what you're talking about.
Yeah,
and
absolutely. And you're so, you're sorry, but you're so right. And I love that phrasing, like I care. That's why I'm sharing that, and you're also right. I think the reason why I struggled with it, and maybe a lot of people do, maybe in the past, we all got feedback that was very hard on us. Maybe it wasn't true. Maybe it was very badly delivered, very badly said, and it had a big impact on us. And I always said that I will never be the manager because of whom people go home completely stressed, because of whom people burn out, right? But the lack of feedback does not assure that, right? It's something different. So I think you're right. It's very hard.
If you are talking about bad feedbacks, what was the worst feedback you've ever received and you already overcome it?
Oh my God, so many. So many. I think, and I think it kind of comes with the job, unfortunately, which I hate. But I think, hearing like, yeah, well, you are the only girl on the team. You cannot be so emotional. Nobody really cares about this. You should probably talk to your partner about this decision because I know that, he has a better idea about this than you. Kind of just like very undermining, weird feedbacks that are intended to be very manipulative, right? And intended to kind of show that you have less value than other people. I think that can be really hard because if somebody has the guts to say something like that to you, at first you don't think that you think it's your fault. You would never think that this person has some honest issues, you never comes to mind. You always think that it's your fault. And I think it's awful if you spend your life going through that, right? If you spend your life going through places and meeting people that just have a lot of biases, a lot of issues in them, and they just share this devastating feedback with you, and it really impacts you. I think that people sometimes don't realize the power that words can have. So I think that's like one of the things that I learned to overcome, to like actually trust my intuition and trust the way I'm feeling and know that, if I have emotions, then guess what? I'm human. Everybody has that,
Yes.
right? Like, it's absolutely, it's hard. And I think I used to be very angry with the people that gave me bad feedback, but it's also part of the lesson. Like you learn, it's part of growing up and part of like getting through life, learning what's good and what's bad and learning the difference within. And the only one who can tell you the difference is you, right? And your intuition and your values. So it just, in the end, it pushed me to have those, hold on to that intuition and my values stronger than to crappy feedback that somebody gave me. So yeah.
Out of your worst feedbacks, do you feel like those people cared about you?
I don't think so. I think the hardest feedback that I got, like that wasn't like personal, but like professional. It was hard, but I took it and I knew that those people cared about me and I fixed it. I was like, wow, this is big. I made a mistake. Cool. But if it's a feedback that's personal and not productive and intended to make someone feel smaller, manipulate someone, then and it's gonna happen, right? It happens to all of us. It's this is how we learn what's good and what isn't. That's I don't think that those people cared about me that much.
Yeah. I could ask like thousands of questions of giving and receiving a feedback because I feel like it's a huge part of our lives. But once you shared that you were very humbled to be listed with some of your great friends, so what must a person do so that you can call them your great friend?
Mm-hmm. So what a person does to start for me to view them as a really good friend of mine?
Yeah.
Yeah. I think it's trusting me. I think I trust people defaultly. I usually see the good sides first. But if I know that someone is serious about about being my friend, about spending time together, I think that trusting me is the first step, right? So that trust and that sort of that the relationship can be kind of mutual.
Mm-hmm.
So trusting me that I will walk them through hard times and I will have the hard conversations with them, and that I also want to spend time with them, right? And that they are really a priority for me. I have a couple of dear friends, but I think we have very like deep relationships, which is important to me. So if somebody gives me that trust, I honor it. I honor it, and I honor if somebody gives me their time and builds a connection with me. I think that's really precious. So yeah.
Got it. You know, Klara, I wish to have the sky as the limit to our conversation, but time is the limit. So let's jump to the rapid fire questions. So, 7 cities in 1 week or 7 days of the beach?
Ooh. 7 cities in 1 week.
Fast or thoughtful decision?
Thoughtful.
What are your favorite color and song?
My favorite color is black, and my favorite song is Young Folks.
If you were a superhero, what superpower would you have?
Teleportation.
Who do you learn from in the community world? Name just one person. Sorry, I feel like some connection problem.
Oh.
Can you repeat, please?
Yes. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, all good.
Tiffany Oda.
Name 2 people whose community life journey you are happy to hear about. Basically, who I should have this conversation with.
Ooh, that's a great question. Let me think. I feel like I might name someone you already had on the show. But I would absolutely love to hear about Leah Mladenova. She's in our community. And I would also love to hear about Joel Primack.
Got it. I didn't have conversation with him yet, so yeah.
Nice.
And is there one question that I definitely should have asked you but didn't?
I think my favorite type of food. I love talking about food, so it's literally my favorite topic. So hopefully next time.
So what is your favorite type of food?
I love all food, all cuisines, but my favorite meal is tomato pasta. It's very basic, but also a lot goes into it. And if you can really cook it well and have fresh ingredients, it's unbelievable. In the summer, I grow my own tomatoes and basil, so the 2 main ingredients. Hopefully someday I'll learn to make pasta as well, but that's my favorite dish in the world.
Got it. And definitely, it's just the beginning. We'll definitely have volume 2 one day, and we'll talk more about tomato pasta. And, Klara, thank you very much for sharing your time. And I can remember that you were one of the first people I ever had conversations in this international community world, and you were very supportive and helpful, and thank you very much for that. And this opportunity to get to know you even better and to dive to some deep things such as having these small sombreros. Thank you very much for sharing your life stories, and it was it was one of the best conversations I have. So thank you very much for that.
I really appreciate it. It's been awesome to get to know you, to be able to root for you, and always appreciate you being such a cheerleader for us and the work we do. So it's awesome to be in your close circle.
Yeah, and see you in the community world.
See you there.
And thank you so much for listening. If you like the show, hit the like button or 5 stars and share it with your friend. That's it. We're done. See you in the next episode.